Welcome to Sunday Morning Quarterback with Jay Stockwell and Bob Frady.
Welcome to Sunday Morning Quarterback. I am Jay Stockwell for the season finale.
I am Bob Frady, thankful for the season
And I am George Stockwell. I'm in agreeing with Uncle Bob here.
The first thing we're going to cover, George Stockwell's haircut. I think it looks really good.
Didn't we cover this?
You know what? George could put a mop on his head and still look good. He's a handsome
Most
young
of the
man.
year he's had a mop on his head, but now after a good haircut, he's looking pretty good there, UP.
Yeah. He looked pretty good before. I'm not hung up on haircuts.
We're hanging up on Nebraska football.
You don't really have to worry much about haircuts, do you?
You should focus a little bit more on Nebraska football than you do about George's haircut. Maybe you wouldn't have to read ChatGPT the entire time.
Well, no ChatGPT. I got no prep this time.
ChatGPT.
But if I were going to go on ChatGPT, I'd ask it, tell me about the Nebraska basketball team, who's 14-0 and is going to be in the top 10 heading into Ohio State on Monday night.
This is a football podcast. Let's stick to the issue.
Haircuts and basketball to start off the season-ending pot.
So how about that game against Utah?
Oh man, I can't even.
It was a weird game.
I'm just gonna cut to the chase.
You know what it was? Here's what the Utah game was like.
Wait, whoa! I'm sorry to interrupt. We just got big breaking news right here on the podcast.
What's that?
Kenny Minchey, planning to be QB1 for Notre Dame next year, has committed to the Huskers.
Yes. Hey, we knew that. That's like 3 hours old.
It came out 40 minutes
Very
ago.
good.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Here's what the Iowa game was like. It's like going on a first couple of dates with someone, or the Utah game, whatever the hell they got beat by. Like first couple of dates, it's like it's so awesome. And then you're like, I just love this girl. And then, blam, she runs over you, and next thing you know, you're living in Minnesota.
That's
Exactly. Bob Free, that's the best thing that ever happened to you. I mean,
yeah. Look at the snow.
I'll tell you what now.
All right. So what's the point of this?
Wait,
what are we talking about today?
Over there? Is that his glasses on? Wow. Yeah. Welcome to the pod.
Gotta clean the glasses, man. Clean the glasses.
Okay, I don't know about that. Is that allowed on the pod or not?
Hello.
And my glasses are a little crooked here. I gotta fix this, man. What's going on? There we go. Better.
All right. What are we talking about?
So, look, I think it's very simple. We started this podcast 3 years ago in conjunction with Matt Rhule coming. This year was marginal improvement, and I believe without Emmett Johnson, we would have gone backwards. And we have the deepest pockets in the Power Five. Deserve better than this. And the last 3 games were atrocious. It's a national embarrassment. And I think Matt Rhule, I give him credit for making some CEO-like moves here at the end, but he's got to deliver next year. Because this guy's a 500 coach guy, and he's always been that, and he's not proven that he can break out of that historical form that he's had his entire career. He's a hell of a sales guy. He's good on the stump. But the product at the end of the year, and I what other profession, Bob, can you be mediocre and make $90 million bucks, have a $90 million contract? This is mediocre, and
it is. Listen, the game changes. We saw this with Nebraska. The Nebraska during the Tom Osborne years worked the system by having the walk-on program where you had 100 guys who you could call upon at any time to fill out your roster. And then you had the early days of Raiola, where the SEC played that like a fiddle and used that to dominate until the new days have come with NIL, where the playing field is much more level. The offenses have also changed, where you've gone from ground and pound to run and shoot to some sort of a hybrid. So things are always changing, and what made you great before doesn't make you great today. And Nebraska fans sort of overlooked that whole Carolina Panthers thing when Matt Rhule was hired. Now, to be fair, he's got one more season to challenge or to change things, maybe two, because of that extension. Thank you, Penn State, for not only beating us, but
Matt
screwing
Rhule's
over our
agent
season.
is the winner of the entire season on our side of the ball.
Well, I will also say this about that. Sometimes when you get rich, you forget the things that made you rich, and you just take it for granted that those tools will always be there, and they're not. Maybe you develop better tools, but when you're young and hungry and you haven't been paid, your mentality is completely different than when you've been paid, because you keep thinking, oh, it'll work out. Oh, it'll work. We got time. It'll work out because you get the money. So for me, I think that this is going to be a really hard rebuild for Matt Rhule in 1 year. He's got a year to prove it. But with that friggin', ACC, not even ACC, American Athletic Conference offense, it is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Now, one of the things that struck me after the Utah game was some of the announcers were watching the Nebraska players come off the field, and they're like, we're shocked by the lack of athleticism with Nebraska players, which makes me wonder about strength and conditioning. And, second half, we get rolled over more often than not, which is a strength and conditioning issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that they get a better strength and conditioning program for the team, because you get tired in the Big Ten, you get run over in the Big Ten. And I would say that so you get a bad offensive system, you're out of shape, and you're in flux. Tough
I think
to
that
overcome.
our biggest highlight of the year was Emmett Johnson's obviously up there, but I really liked Mike Eckler. I really think that he should be hired as our coach. If not, he leaves, goes to a smaller school, and shows that he can be a good coach. He's the hypest guy on the sidelines. You see him; he is full of energy. He really, like, he's got a system going. You know what I mean? We're a pretty clean special teams throughout the year. That's something that didn't change a ton. But other than that, I mean, you're right about the strength and conditioning. We hung on with Utah for a couple quarters, and then it just fell apart. We hung with Iowa for a whole half, fell apart. I mean, and there's no changing game plan clearly at halftime. Nothing changes. It was a really weak season, and I think you're right about like his AAC play style, UB, because I mean, and Big 12, because he was at Baylor for a few years. I mean, we beat Colorado, we beat Cincinnati. We can hang with out of conference teams in the ACC and Big 10, but not or Big 12, but not the Big 10, not the SEC. I know, you know what I mean. It's completely different game, completely different play style, and to be honest, we had pretty bad players. I think
I've been
Raiola
paying
and
attention a lot to Kurt Signetti and what he's been saying. Some really interesting things have come out just watching him. First of all, the guy who won most valuable player in the Rose Bowl, Coogan, was the center, and he came over from Notre Dame. So for him, it's all about discipline and toughness in the trenches. That's where he starts his program. And interestingly, his coaches don't work past 6:00 at night. He's like, we start really early at 7 a.m. We're very focused all day, but I allow my coaches to go home. And then Monday's a walkthrough, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, an hour 30 to an hour 40 maximum practice. And then he lets his kids go be students, and then they walk through on Friday. And his theory is, my guys aren't going to get as injured if I'm a little lighter on them during the week. So it's much more of a mental game for Kurt Signetti than it is a physical, sort of pounding the group during the week. And they work normal bank hours, I have a lot of respect for a guy that is disciplined enough in his program. And I think you're right about the development, Bob, and there's no excuse for that. We have the facilities for like the best facilities in existence for developing players. And so there's got to be a lot of focus on that. But I'd be really interested in what you guys have in terms of priorities for the NIL and the portal, and what you think. What are our priorities? What do we need to shore up here?
Well, I mean, I've been following the portal a little bit. We've already targeted 14 players in the past like 48 or 72 hours for visits. A decent amount of guys from San Diego State coming with our new DC. We got the guy from Notre Dame, O-lineman from South Carolina. We got a wide receiver from UCLA, but I'm not worried about that. I think we'll be fine in terms of the transfer portal. We weren't bad last year. But I mean, I got to be honest, guys. Our biggest problem is still our coaching. There haven't been any home run hires. I mean, it's like San Diego State defensive coordinator. I mean, come on, guys. They're not a really.
Well, listen, to be fair, George, if Utah's coach, Utah's OC was at New Mexico last year. And yeah, he set some records at New Mexico, but people are like, New Mexico. And that guy steamrolled us with his game plan and is now going to Michigan as their OC. So small college doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be bad moving up. But it is a challenge.
It's not always going to be like these hires happen a decent amount where a Power 5 team hires a guy from New Mexico or the MAC or something. It's going to work 1 out of 5 times, 2 out of 5 times. It doesn't always work. And I mean, our biggest problem, which I think you're on the same page as me, UB, is Dana Holgorsen, dude. We need to get him the hell out of the program. I mean, our offense sucks. I think some of that is the players, but a lot of it is the game plan. So yeah,
let's go back to the game. The way they hung in there was they established the run up front and then just went away from it. And
well, it's not that they went away from it; it's that Utah adapted, and Nebraska had no plan B, and no plan B should be the nickname of this team. It's the Cornhusker no plan Bs, because there is no plan B. When plan A gets jammed up, team's done, and that's really sucky.
Especially last 3 games.
It's sad to see.
Especially the last 3 games.
And so time after time after time, halftime adjustments, they get rolled in the second half. And it's like, not counting, William and Mary and, the Akron Zipless or whoever the hell they played, they are terrible at halftime adjustments. So to your question, though, what do they need in the portal? There's one thing they need in the portal. That's defensive line help. They need someone to get to the quarterback. If you look last year, the offense, frankly, was fine with Raiola. It was the defense that couldn't get to the quarterback that was forcing the team into very uncomfortable situations.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean.
Yeah, and in the Big Ten, you win in 3 ways: strong defensive line play, your front 7, if you will. So defensive line and linebackers are critical. The second is a strong running game, and the third is a strong tight end game. And Nebraska right now has none of those. So whatever they can do to address those is what needs to be done. Secondary seems fine. All the kids who've entered the portal, I don't think anybody's going to be missed with the exception of Raiola.
No, our secondary's gone, dude. Our secondary is gone. Singleton, senior, Malcolm Hartzog, he transferred. Sierra Wright, senior. We don't have a secondary right now, to be honest.
I think they have enough. On the freshman sophomore side to be okay. But here's the thing: if the quarterback's on the ground, it doesn't matter how good your secondary is or how bad your secondary is.
Bob, I agree with everything you're saying about the defensive line and the edge rushers, but you got to have a quarterback and you got to have a better offensive line. There's no question about it. I mean, those quarterback, offensive line, and defensive line are the top priorities in the portal. And then you got to get another running back. You got to get a wide receiver that can make a difference. And then to your point, George, the defensive backfield has been decimated. So there's a ton of and they got to retain the guys that are good. So there's a whole it's a menu full of things they need in the transfer portal. It's not just one area. And hopefully it seemed like Geep Wade, like the first few series in the Utah game, that those guys were blocking. I mean, it looked really, really good for a while. And hopefully the new defensive coordinator can make a difference. It didn't seem like the crew they assembled for that game.
He wasn't even coaching in that game, was he?
No, he wasn't.
No, John Butler, I think was.
No.
You know, the other thing is
Phil Snow.
you need Phil Snow. Sorry, Butler. Sorry, like my mind is shot from watching Nebraska football all year. I think that if your team's not going to be in great shape, that you have to have a lot of players who are sort of same. So you have to rotate your lines. You know, I was talking to our friend Cody the other night, and he played college basketball, and he said they full court pressed, and they had line changes every minute and a half. Like 5 guys come out, 5 guys go in. Run. 5 guys come out, 5 guys go in. Everybody runs. Third team comes in. Everybody runs. So you can make up for that lack of physicality with either volume or scheme. You know, so I just don't see the creativity of these geniuses. And listening to the announcers hump for Holgorsen in the last game when the team was down by 20 was almost embarrassing for them. I mean, I know they have to say nice things, but yeah, I am just so disappointed with the game plan that almost doesn't matter what they recruit. It almost doesn't matter, because anything on the offensive side is going to be held back by the lack of strength and conditioning. The defensive side might offer some hope.
In-game coaching, with the exception of special teams, really poor.
Yeah, but hey, let's look at the positive sides of the season. I mean, I thought we got off to a great start. We hung in there with Michigan in a game that we should have won. It was our defense. It was our defense that Justice Hayes ran all over us. I don't think that our offense was that bad with Dylan Raiola. It worked in the Big Ten for like ish. But I mean, he can be a very good quarterback. He was a 5-star, and I think that once he transfers to a school with better O-line, better coaches, he will shine, in my opinion. It didn't work in Nebraska though. I mean, we would have beat USC, in my opinion, if he was still playing. So there are a lot of questions still. What would happen if Dylan Raiola was still there? Obviously, I think that John Butler being fired was a great decision, because that was something that was terrible all year, other than secondary. So I mean, that's one of the bright sides, is if Raiola wasn't hurt, I think we could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, we would have lost by 20 instead of by 30. Or
I think with Raiola it would have been a little bit closer in some of the.
He can only do
so
much.
Had more sacks.
You know, look at Utah. How many completions did they have to their tight ends? Was it like 13 or something like that? Every time you turned around, there was this beast with the football catching it and running down our throats. How many completions did we have the tight ends in our game? 1. And it came late. It's like, maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong. But I've watched enough. I've never coached football, so I don't know what it's like to be a coach. I'm not pretending to be a coach. I watched a lifetime of football, and every great team has a great tight end, and we don't. And the reason why we don't have a great tight end is because we don't feature the tight end in our offensive game plan. They're there to block, and let's just take them off the field and run 5 wide. You know, it's just ridiculous. And like I said before, I think that any kid playing tight end should bypass Nebraska as a recruit, because we ain't gonna play you as a tight end. You're not going pro as a Nebraska tight end from catching the ball.
I think that the last time we actually had a decent offense was with Casey Thompson, if you guys remember him, OU transfer. And we were putting up 30, 40 points a game. And you know who our tight end was? Austin Allen. He almost won Big Ten tight end of the year. He was drafted. That was the last time we actually used a tight end in the football scheme, and it actually worked decently. And
why? The wind. Nebraska has a terrible case of the winds. It's like the wind blows all over the place. Good luck throwing a 40-yard completion. Throw it 10 yards and let the big guy rumble. And I just don't get why we keep picking systems that aren't adapted to the players and aren't adapted to the conditions, and because they're genius systems. It's like this is going to be Matt Rhule's downfall. Is he's going to get fired unless he fixes that. And I don't see Holgorsen adding anything to the game. And listen, he might be a nice guy, might be a wonderful guy. I don't know. I've never met him. I just watched the product on the field and screaming, like, where's the 5-yard out? They ran a crossing route in the first. They ran a crossing route, 5-yard crossing route, turned into the first out. I was like, oh my God, a crossing route. And then they seemed to go away from it for the rest of the game. Like just they killed Latif because of the lack of creativity in their offensive game.
And I think that I will honestly, I've had hope for Nebraska every single year, and we've sucked every single year. A little bit better the last couple of years, but I think I will finally have hope in Nebraska when we actually have a good, because 2026 recruiting classes, we're cooked. We have nobody. We're below UMass, who didn't win a game this year. We're below some really bad teams. So if we have a decent portal and we fire Holgorsen, which I don't think we will because the season's over and we still haven't, I think we're in
really loyal to Holgorsen. Holgorsen didn't go anywhere. But I think the reason for the high school recruiting being down is that they're going to really dip into the portal.
No, I don't think it is. I think we just struggled because 2027 we have a top 5 class right now. I know that's a year away, but that's still we haven't had that in a while. I just think that 2026 players didn't want to come here, and we, unless we have a decent transfer portal, we are cooked for next year because we have nobody. We have no.
Think about something though. Think about something. Who has left Nebraska besides Houseman and done well? Jeff Sims finally got some starts for ASU. He did pretty well.
He did great. He did great.
Yeah, but he threw a pick at the end of the game to lose the game.
Yeah.
So, right on cue. Who else has done well at a Power 5 program besides Houseman?
Wan'Dale Robinson has done pretty well, and he's a great player in the NFL.
What? Yeah, but Kentucky, he's done great in the pros. He's done great in the pros. Okay, that's 2. I'll give you Robinson.
I'm trying to think like who has entered the portal that has like actually. That's a good question. I'm really trying to think here.
Nobody. Look at even Dante Dowdell is now back in the portal.
You're right, Bob. The personnel we've been dealing with, and that's what John Butler said when he got fired, is, look, we did well with what we had, and we just don't look at the NFL contributions we've made, and it's just they're 1 or 2 players a year, and we just don't have the personnel. So that's where
there's
the
one
portal, that's
way.
where the portal this year makes a hell of a lot of sense, George. And
but that's the key. We need to have a top 5 portal, or else we're screwed.
Yeah, 100%. We need a top 5 portal, absolutely, and we have the good news is we have the money to do it. We have this is where Matt Rhule, as a CEO of this program, has to win. There's no barrier to it. He's got the cash, so let's go get the players.
A fool and his money are soon parted. So let's pump the brakes on having the cash. Listen, if somebody gave me $40 million and I decided to buy, I don't know, 1,000 Yugos, great. Got a lot of volume, not a lot of quality. Or I pay $1 million for a car that costs $100,000 because I buy a Ferrari and I don't have a game plan. I don't have a track to run it on. It's like, it's not just the money. It's what you do with the money. I'm
not saying go spend money on bad players. I'm saying go spend money on good players.
I mean, there's a reason that Sam Leavitt, a Heisman candidate at the beginning of the year, Arizona State, his top school is Kentucky right now, is because they're throwing money at his face. We can do it too. It's just but Matt Rhule needs to. And I mean, I just don't.
It seems like I just saw the post on Minchey as well, and everything I've read about him, it says he's a top tier quarterback. So He's long. He's a pass
But
first
we
quarterback.
need to surround him. One guy, it's been proven that one guy can't change a program. Emmett Johnson is a Heisman candidate, and we sucked. We need to surround him with players. We need to step the defense up, because you've got guys that are built like me going against top 5, top 10 freaking O-lines in the country. I'm sorry to hate on myself.
Except they have better haircuts.
Yeah, because that matters totally.
Well, your helmet fits better that way. So it is. Listen, we remain hopeful, but bitterly disappointed.
Very.
Everybody was expecting this 3rd-year jump. It didn't happen. And maybe it's a 4th year, or maybe the guy's just over his head. We'll see. We shall see. We remain optimistic. I mean, Texas A&M had a nice turnaround, but ended up losing the game. It is got a tough schedule next year. 500, they'll be lucky. And so this was the year. This was the soft schedule year.
We blew it up.
No.
Blew it up.
Blew it up. And my take, the team is not in shape. And they're big and they're strong.
No,
but
we're not big and strong. We're not big and strong.
Listen, they could probably push a lot of plates around in the weight room. But if you run out of gas after 3 plays, you got a long way to go to be good. Gym strength versus play strength. And I think we focus on gym strength and we don't focus on conditioning. Look at I always draw my parallels to the Miami Heat. Why have the Miami Heat basketball team always been so good, even with players who may or may not be
Eric
great?
Spoelstra, conditioning.
It's conditioning, exactly. He says, we're going to get them in the best shape of their lives, and we're going to put them in a system that takes advantage of it.
No,
I'm not convinced that
I think
happens
another
Nebraska.
team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin hasn't had a losing season in 17 seasons. Now, they've had some great players, but they're not insanely good this year. They've got a 4-year-old quarterback. I mean, and they're still not terrible. I mean, I completely agree with you. The conditioning is a huge part of it. I mean, you look at the best teams ever, and they had that drive, the 2000 whatever Tim Tebow Florida Gators. Those guys were conditioning all the time, and they're nasty. I mean, it's
you look at Indiana. Indiana crushed Alabama. It was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing display, but it wasn't embarrassing because Indiana was in shape, had a great system, and just pummeled these guys. Had adopted that bad attitude, and God bless them. You think what you will about Alabama, they probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. Notre Dame should have been there instead of them. But because everybody, blows up the SEC whenever given a chance, the SEC sucked this year. And, maybe Ole Miss pulls a rabbit out of a hat.
I've got Ole Miss winning it. I'm sorry, guys. I got Ole Miss winning it.
Ole Miss.
Yeah,
Indiana.
I love an underdog story, so why not?
Well, there you go. It is anyway, to wrap up the season. It is a season of disappointment because we know this was the soft schedule season, and they got a lot of work to do, and it doesn't get any easier. And so I look at it like, and listen, this is easy to say from the outside. Who knows what it's like on the inside? The strength and conditioning coach would probably whoop my ass if I told him the team wasn't in shape, or challenge me to a 20-meter race and beat me by 10 meters. So, it's easy to say. It's easy to be negative from the outside. And our job as fans is to be supportive. So I would say that Matt Rhule has laid down a number of challenges for himself. And let's see what happens.
I'm optimistic because based on what I've seen already, the coaching changes, the portal moves that I'm aware of, and we're optimism. I mean, it took Tom Osborne 10 years, and at least Matt Rhule is a good guy. He's a family guy. He's taking care of his family. He's not Sharon Moore, and he's a guy that we can respect as our coach. And so I think we got to support him again for next year. And so,
You know who else was a nice guy? Mike Leach.
yeah,
Mike Leach
He's
is
an
a
awesome
great guy.
yeah.
Rest in peace.
Mike Riley was a great guy. Mike Riley was a great guy.
Yeah.
But George got to meet him when he was
Mike Riley.
6 years old.
Yeah, it's like
So
Hey, we're missing one thing though. It's been a long episode. How about Nebraska ball? How about Nebraska ball?
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We need to have a little positivity. And
So
we're gonna have a top
here's the-
10 team.
Bob and I went to see them play Oklahoma in Sioux Falls, and I said the next day that they're going to be a top 10 team. And
yeah, I've been saying it
tomorrow
since
at 2:00, they're going to be a top 10 team. So
And so we had tickets for the game yesterday or Friday, and like, don't want to drive all the way down there, 6-hour drive. And then they win the game
it was.
and storm the court. I don't think Jay Stockwell would have stormed the court. I know I wouldn't have.
Oh, I
Well,
would.
we would have
I don't think we
stormed
could
the court.
George, you couldn't get out of the seats fast enough to storm the court. You kidding me? You'd be lifting one giant ham hock over the chairs
we
trying
said
to
Ross, and they stormed the court. So Ross
Did they really?
enough storming the court. Storming the court is for losers. Winners don't storm the court. Act like you've been there before, Nebraska.
And I'll just tell you. So Doug Wojcik, the assistant head coach at Michigan State, went to high school with Mike Nazaro, and I served with him at the Naval Academy. He was the assistant head coach. He was point guard for David Robinson. Every noon hour at the famous Halsey Fieldhouse on the campus of USNA, we would play. I've guarded him like 50 times over 3 years. We probably played 100.
All right, get to the point. We're running long. Get to the point.
Head coach, and his son was playing for Michigan State, and his other son, went to Harvard for 3 years, and then transferred to Michigan State. His other son went to Brown for 3 years, and then transferred to North Carolina. So it's a kind of an unknown American basketball family story that's just very cool. And he served in the Navy as well. His wife Lael served in the Navy, and I was texting him afterwards, just saying, hey, what a wonderful opportunity. I didn't know that his son was playing there until I saw the game. And so that was just really cool. And then the connection between Izzo and Hoiberg. Hoiberg's son played for Tom Izzo for 4 years, Michigan State. And there's just and Izzo was, thank you. Izzo was super. Izzo was
You want to know the best part about all this? He
super
still lost the Nebraska ball. Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, it was at Nebraska. They'll have their chance.
Great story. But still, nobody can.
So let's give our final shout out of the season. And oh, by the way, Bob Frady, I have re-signed George Stockwell, despite wherever he goes to college, to the podcast for next season. So he's already agreed to it.
There's a podcast next season.
Oh yes. And we've already agreed to
I think we should toss up a couple more episodes for basketball. I think that'd be great.
We'll have
an extra.
We'll do something.
We have an extra couple podcasts from this season.
Oh no!
Use, but
oh no! We have an extra couple of podcasts.
Wow!
So Bob, we're gonna win you. We're gonna win your enthusiasm back through basketball. That's what we're gonna do. So
yeah.
Oh, you can't win my enthusiasm back through basketball. There was nothing there to win back. I love watching them play. They play a great inside-out game. They can shoot the ball. They're tough defensively. It's a wonderful team to watch. And so you're never going to have to. And the kid from Iceland, he's like the human victory cigar. Love to see him get in the game. And so, it's wonderful to see. It's a long season. We'll see what happens. I think the team's a little bit underrated.
Just a little bit. Yeah, for sure. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
We're a top 5 team.
And that was like a 13. Like, really? We're going to give Nebraska a 13? Come on. What's going on? They're going to get crushed by Michigan State. And then they go out and win the game. It's like, now they should be top 10. Will they?
Michigan State's a good team, man. They're a good team. So
yeah, but the women's team was undefeated until they weren't.
And we still are undefeated.
So let's give our final shout out with a little extra emphasis for the basketball team and the women's.
Okay, hold on. I need an offensive MVP. I need a defensive MVP for Nebraska.
For football?
All right, I'll go first. Offensive,
George.
easy. Emmett Johnson, easy, extremely easy. He's a top 5 running back in the program ever.
Do special teams too.
Defensive. Oh, I would special teams. I'm going to give Kenneth Williams. Walk on, comes in, has a few rushing attempts back. That was impressive. I think defensively, it's got to be Sierra Wright. I mean, there's nobody else that played better than him. He had a few good picks. Malcolm Hartzog, if he didn't have a season-ending injury, he could have played great too because he had that game winner versus Cincy. But yeah,
I agree with everything George said, except I might lean more towards Deshaun Singleton in that on the defensive end. So, but yeah, agree totally on Emmett and the special teams and Kenneth Williams.
Emmett Johnson, please, MVP of the whole team. I like McCullough as well.
Right.
On the defensive side,
I think was undervalued, wasn't played. Sorry to cut you off, but Cade Pietrzak wasn't played that much after his breakout like 3 or 4 games. What happened?
I think teams got wise to him and just can't scheme for him a little bit more. But he was out there a lot and didn't make as much.
All right,
of an impact.
go ahead.
But hold on special teams. To me, it's Kyle Kinnanen who calmed down the kicking position.
I mean, you got to give Mike Eckler credit. We've had terrible kickers recently, and below average special teams plays. So that he's the coach.
If Scott Frost had Kyle Kinnanen as his kicker, he'd probably still be the coach at Nebraska.
That's probably true.
So because of all those games they just fumbled away. Right. So overall, I would give the season. I would give it a B+ for the first half of the season. I would give it an F for the last half of the season, which is a C- blend.
I would give it a G, which is one below an F. That's how bad the second half of the season was. I'm giving it a D+. That was terrible.
Yeah. Getting steamrolled by Iowa is always painful.
It doesn't even happen either. We've been in a close game with them every game, and then we just get absolutely like pummeled, dude. It was bad. Hey, let's wrap this up. If you were this could be a movie episode.
I gotta turn my hat around.
37 minutes. All right. Let's the Matt Rhule for your
podcaster Bob.
No. We're
no. Hold on. That's for next.
We're all
year.
in. We're back in, and we may come back for a good idea, George, on the basketball thing. We may have to come back for a little basketball. But really enjoyed this season with you guys. Thank you very much for your commitment.
Love you guys. Great. It was a fun season of pod.
It was fun. It was a fun pod. Despite all the sadness made better pods. When we were going great, it was too easy to be like, hey, look,
13 minutes.
Great.
Yeah, good win.
Remember the unknown fan last year? Remember the unknown fan, Bob? That was good.
Yeah. No. All right.
So
till next year, or mid-season, or sometime in the future.
I'll leave this out.
See you again soon. All right.
Go Big Red!
Go Big Red!
Oh, we did it at the same time.
We did it in unison.
Pointed at me.
Yeah, like we were at the stadium.
Hey,
that was
works.
awesome.
That works.
We haven't done that all season. Finally, we get our game together when the season